Sounds good.
All right. The recording has started, so Rose, take it away.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Len. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our launch of our CA Harvest Software Change Manager webinar series, our monthly series. We're kicking off the month of January with a webcast featuring Harvest forms, customizing CA Harvest SCM forms, why you would use forms, and how you would go about customizing the forms. And our speaker for today is going to be Sridhar from the Harvest product team, one of our Harvest engineers, and he was going to walk you through this today. For those of you who are not able to attend the event live, we will be recording, and we will be entertaining Q&A once we finish with the webcast, and we will do that either through the chat or the Q&A option in the WebEx. So now I'm going to turn it over to Sridhar. Sridhar, I think you need to unmute.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Sridhar from Harvest SCM team. So in today's agenda, I will be covering basically what is a form in respect to Harvest, and how it can be customized and used with all the validations and customizations.
And we're not seeing the slides advance.
Yeah, Sridhar, just above the slide itself, you'll see a number and then a little arrow to advance it.
Okay, sure. Okay, in today's agenda, what I will be covering is overall view of Harvest forms and how the workbench form editor can be used to display the forms, and what are the different form template features, and in that form template, how the form scripting can be done in both workbench as well as Harvest. It would be following up with the demo. After that, we will discuss some points on migration and upgrade issues of the forms. The last slide would be some JavaScript tips in order to do a customizations both at workbench forms as well as Harvest forms. So, what is a form? According to Harvest definition, these forms let you record the changes associated with a Harvest change package. So considering SCM as a version control system, if you consider change package, it will be associated with a change. So all the changes have to be recorded somewhere. So these forms will be useful for tracking all the changes associated with the package. And the forms helps you organize information for a project or about a specific customer. We even have form attachments which will be providing additional information for the change package. For example, if you have a use case where it cannot be filled up in the form, or you want to have some attachments to be associated with the package, that can be done through the form attachments. You can take a snapshot of all the actions and attach them to the form. So also, the forms are global objects and can be accessed across multiple projects. So this way we can share the forms across multiple packages of different projects. A use case would be if you have two projects parallelly running, one is the current release and another would be the maintenance project. And if you want to do some modifications in the maintenance project and also merge those changes into the current project, so we need to have a common form which will be describing the changes. So in this way, the forms can be shared across multiple projects with the help of packages. So one more important point over the forms is like prior to 12.x, we had forms which has to be recited at each and every client machine in order to view. So from 12.x, the forms have been implemented as a server-side forms, wherein forms will be stored in the Harvest schema, and anyone who accesses the form will be dynamically fetching that form contents into their own workbench instance or hardware. So what are the different types of forms? We have default forms as well as custom forms. Default forms are the ones which are bundled with the Harvest installations itself. So by default, we have some form type templates which we bundle with the Harvest installations, and at the time of installation, they can be loaded into Harvest schema through load forms option. Again, the custom forms, administrators of the Harvest can create them according to their need and insert them into the Harvest database so that they can be used across all the users. And that part I will be covering in the demo, where I will be creating a new form type, add it to the database, and add some customizations to it. So this doc reference, you can find all the reference of Harvest forms in admin guide in the section creating and modifying form types. Here you have a very clear explanation of all the things: how to create a form, how to validate, how to insert validations at both workbench side as well as Harvest side. So the whatever picture in the PPT slide you are seeing is a customized form for the demo. So all the features will be discussed in detail in the coming slides, such as Eclipse-based UI, multiple forms can be opened as tabs. We can even insert images, hyperlinks, multiple column layout, how to keep required fields, how to do a validation patterns, XML formats, form templates on server, how to do scripting in the form. And finally, we will also cover Form Editor API, which we have introduced in order to communicate from Harvest form to SCM. That I will explain in detail, showing you the API doc as well as some examples of them to use in the Harvest form. So Workbench uses XML form templates. So after form is created, HFD will be generated in the user profile forms folder, wherein admin can use this HFD generated and give that as input to the formgen.exe, which we bundle with SCM, and the final output would be a XML template. So once the template gets generated, we need to insert that template into Harvest schema in order to view the form. So this part also I will cover in the demo. So that inserting into database is done through HForm sync utility. So coming to the each and individual attributes of the form customizations, we have support for image tag, wherein we have the option providing the URL of the image. We can also give some href to it, and span is optional, in which we want to say the image to be occupied in the grid, whatever grid we associate with the form. Currently supported form image types are JPEG, GIF, PNG format and BMP as well as icon format. So hyperlink is another attribute, another tag which we support in the form template, wherein we can provide some link in the form page. So rich label is something a tricky one in the form template, because like we have this SWT form widget which we use for the displaying forms. So it does not accept this less than symbol in the for the form display. For that we need to have this %LT in order to make it pass successfully. So this also we have described in the document. Also I will show in the example. The following is the link where we can find more information on the attributes of the form widget, text widget. So in order to make some component or field as a required field, we are providing one attribute called required equal to true. This will get validated whenever we save the form. And if we make a field as a required and if we don't add anything to it, a pop-up will come saying it is missing the required data. Also, we have a pattern validation. If at all you want to do some numeric validation as a phone number or social security number, all those things can be done through a pattern message and pattern attribute. So multiple columns. If you want to display your forms as a multiple columns, by default the XML form which gets generated comes in a single column. If you want to span across multiple columns, that can be done through two attributes. One is columns, another one is span. So column attributes gives the Harvest form option to display how many columns the contents have to be distributed. Again, span is for each and every field. Span will be coming into picture, wherein it will help to decide whether it has to occupy a single column, two columns, or multiple columns. Again, all these things I'll be covering through an example in the demo. So if we consider this displayed example, the first is the image one, which has whole form has been divided into two columns, two grid actually. So the image has been occupied two columns, as well as the rich form label. Coming to the each individual fields like date, category, social security number, all those have been for them the span would be 1 because it has occupied single column only. So this displays the example. So for a harvest complete if you consider the display as a single tab panel, in that we are dividing the columns as 2. So for image we are saying that to occupy 2 span, so that it occupies entire row, similar to other fields. Also, if you see the bottom one for hyperlink, also we have made it as 2, so that it occupies entire row. So coming to JavaScript, prior to 12.x in 7.1 we were supporting VBScript as the form files where in the form of HTML, where VBScript was used as a scripting language. But coming from R12.x, we are supporting multiple platforms such as Linux, Mac. So on all OS, VB-script may not be possible. So in the Eclipse-based UI, as it supports multiple platforms, we are using Rhino script engine in order to display the forms with the help of JavaScript. So it is supported across multiple platforms. So also for interacting with the Harvest product, a new API has been introduced from R12.x, which is known as Form Editor API, which gets bundled in the Harvest binary in the docs folder. You can navigate to the docs folder of Harvest installation, wherein you will see a Form API documentation. So detailed attributes of this editor object I will cover in the demo part. A single interface has been exposed to the users in the form of iForm editor. So once user gets this object into their form page, it can access all the methods which are there in that particular interface. And whenever user double clicks and opens the form, it internally in the background creates the editor object and makes it available in the form. So you need not create any extra code in order to get the editor object. It is ready-made available in the form page, and you can use that as a hook in order to communicate to Harvest. Basically, it is used for all field validations or in order to get some values from the Harvest. So script blocks in the XML template. So in the generated XML file, by default, no script tag will be present. So in order to have validation or initialization or events in your form, you need to have these tags. Initialization tag, basically when you open a form, this code gets executed, and here you can put all the coding where you want to initialize your form with. And validation part, here you can validate your form before saving. And events dynamically, if you consider a combo, whenever you change a combo or text field, all these things can be made as events, and at the runtime you can validate them. For each and every script, we have an example. So coming to this particular initialization block, this is a syntax wherein we have to give client equal to Eclipse in order to make it available for the workbench. Whenever user gives client equal to Eclipse, the script which is present in the tag will get only executed in the workbench form. It will not be executed in the hardware. So if you see, editor object is already available in the tag, and DT component, and there is a value for which we are initializing with an initial value. So through editor object, what we are doing is getting the Harvest session, and with session object we are getting all the projects, and once we got the projects, we are adding them to the combo. So this is done by default at the time of form initialization itself. Whenever you open the form, this code gets executed. So again, validation part. Whenever you want to save the form, all these methods get executed, and all the code inside the method will be helpful in order to validate your form. So already we have some inbuilt XML file which gets bundled with Harvest on-demand project.xml, wherein we find almost all the API of the Harvest form API. You can check that as a cross-reference for your thing. So coming to the event part. So event part would be, the function name would be ID, addition with changed. So in this particular thing, we have added a changed event for a combo. So if you see the ID, DT project, corresponding method function for this changed event would be DT project change. So whenever you have any change associated with this combo, control goes to this method and the code inside this method function gets executed. Here what we are doing is through the editor we are getting the session object, getting the project from the text combo box and fetching the list and adding another all the list state names to one more combo. So interacting with Java, as we know, like we are using SWT form text form page for displaying form. So that form, in order to access the Harvest editor, we need to have some medium interface in order to establish communication between these two. So Mozilla Rhino would be the script engine which will be doing this for communicating both Harvest functionality with the Harvest form page. So by default, some methods are exposed through the Harvest form API, but if you want to have additional requirement wherein you want to dynamically fetch some values, that can be achieved through execute SQL query. This method is present in session object, wherein you can write your own SQL queries and fetch the result accordingly, make the result available to other fields. In the displayed example, what we are doing is, after I get a session object and passing username and user obj ID through select statement, fetching the list and adding, for display purpose we are using sysout to print on the console. So this any type of SQL statements can be provided through this SQL query. So this is more about Harvest workbench forms. Coming to Harvest forms, there would be slightly different in type of functionality, as the forms which are displayed in workbench are SWT based. So exactly the same thing cannot be displayed in Harvest because Harvest uses JSP technology. So XML would be common for both. XML in the sense like form template would be common for both, but the type of conversion is different. For workbench, it is a SWT form page, but coming to Harvest forms, it would be a JSP page. So prior to 12.x, what admin needs to do in order to display a form in Harvest was, he has to log into admin, provide the XML file, and compile that file in order to convert to a JSP page as well as form bean page. So this is a manual intervention. So from 12.x, this has been removed. So whenever user clicks any form from Harvest, the conversion automatically takes place and the form is displayed to the user. Again, this part I will cover in the demo so that you will get a clear picture of that. So if you see that Harvest form gets converted to JSP pages to display, all the form fields from XML gets converted to HTML page in the JSP file. So JavaScript now be embedded into JSP page for validation purpose. So once the JSP page is generated, you can embed your own JavaScript or validation or customizations in the JSP page. In the below provided example, what I did is for a text field value on change, I am calling a JavaScript function which will be get executed if we click OK on changing of that particular input value. This will get fired. The same form which I showed in the first page, that is a workbench form. Coming to JSP page, this is altogether look and feel is different because I have edited this and made a table format in the JSP. So customized JSP. One thing here, what we need to observe is the value. Automatical conversion has a rule. So when a user clicks a form in the R web, at the runtime in the background, what it checks is the file which is present in the R web instance. Size of that file will be checked against the database, and if there is any mismatch, what it treats is there is a change which is present in the database. At the runtime, it gets downloaded to the R web instance. Once it is downloaded, to reflect the latest changes, it will regenerate the JSP file. So this consideration should be taken because when there is any change in the XML file, JSP file gets regenerated. So proper care has to be taken care of taking a backup of the previous JSP file and again redoing the same thing in the new generated JSP file. So in the demo part, what I will be covering is creation of a new form and add some customizations both in workbench as well as R web. Okay. Okay, if you see, I have already logged into administrator window, wherein I am able to see the different form types. So now what I will do is I have already created a form through admin. I'll just insert that form type into the database. So once I do that, so this is the form which I have created just now. So if you go to the harvest, by default, whenever you generate this, create any form, it will be stored in the all users profile and the CA forms folder. I will navigate to that folder. What I'll do is I'll delete the old XML file of that, which I have created for running a trial. So I'll just navigate to SCM home. Run formgen.exe. So once you run this file, in the displayed list, you will be finding your newly created HFD file, form demo. So this will be taken as an input to convert to XML file. Click XML, click convert. Now if you navigate to the forms folder and see an XML file will be generated. Okay. So now what I'll try to do is I have already created a new table for the form type. Already created XML for that. I'll try to use that form type to one of the package. And click OK. So whatever error you see, what it says is could not write form for display. What it does, what it means is there is no entry of this particular form in the database. As I said, we support server-side forms. Unless you insert the XML into the database, that form will not be displayed for the users. So now the newly created XML has to be inserted into the harvest schema. That can be done through HForm sync utility. So the default syntax for HForm sync would be providing the broker, and credentials would be the admin one, and the final argument would be the XML file which you want to insert into the database. Once you click OK, it has executed to see whether it has done successfully or not. So number of files updated in DB equal to 1, it means there has been an entry which has been added to the database. Coming to workbench and click OK. So now you are able to see a form. But the display wise it's very normal. What I would do with the customizations is, with minimal customizations, would be add 2 tabs and add these fields to one of the tab panel and make it as a 2-column page. So for the demo purpose, I already created one page of that sort. Copy the customization. The default, I'll show you the original template actually, how it would be, because we'll get a clear idea. If you see in the harvest form, there are only text fields which are displayed over here. Now I want to convert this into a different format. So if you see, I have created a tab control where I am creating 2 tabs. In one of the tabs, I am setting all the text fields which were there in the form and make it as a columns as a 2. If you observe for the tab panel, and making the columns value as 2, so that all the fields under this tab panel gets divided into 2 columns. So I will save. But if you go and open the workbench, still it will show the old form. Because the newly modified form is not yet in the arrow schema. For that, again, I have to do HForm sync utility. So the same form gets converted to this way. This is a very basic example for that. So for the demo purpose, what I did is already created a complete customized form. If you see this particular form, it has almost all the components which I have discussed in the demo. The first row is the image, second row is a rich label, and the last is a hyperlink. One is a DB combo, category is a normal combo, and events such as whenever I say some events get generated which is changing the some other fields in the same page, some validation path. So try to save this. Okay, component is empty, and this is a required field. Also, for this security number, we have done some numeric validation which is causing the form save problem. So how all these customizations are being done in the XML file, I will go through that. So whenever I open the form, I got the event actually. So logged in user is fever. So how from where this got executed? So in the XML file, I have a initialization tag wherein what I am making as an alert window, logged in user. So the user information I got it from the editor object. Editor.getSession.getUser.getRealName. So to find this editor related functionality, we need to navigate to STM forms docs folder. There will be a folder named with form editor API doc. Just open that. So this is a basic handle which is available for the customers. to use. Using this handle, he can do all sorts of customizations to his form. So once he gets this control of this, this is a object which already gets initialized when form is open. So with this, he can get the session object, such as get session would be one method. Get the control of the correct stored form. Get session currently logged in session, he will get a logged in session control. You can even get set of, you can change the values of each and every field to get set of the text field values or combo field values. Everything is available in this editor object. So this is okay. This is a limited functionality. Again, if you want to do some custom queries, that is available through session object. Once you get a session object control, there is a method called execute SQL query. Using this query, we can fire all the SQL statements as per your requirement. So once the result set is available, you can pass that according to your needs and make it available for the form. So this is the basic interface which is available for Harvest forms to interact with the SCM. Coming back to the validation part in XML. So there is one more event which I generated was whenever I change a combo field value in the page, social security number and department number gets changed. So this can be achieved through, there will be ID associated to that combo reported is the ID for this particular combo. Corresponding would be function reported change. So whenever you change, if name is this, we are updating this. If name is other thing, we are updating this. So this way you can have the customization done to your Harvest form. So this is basically about displaying of forms in the workbench. So coming back to hardware. The forms in the hardware can be accessed through the same form I will try to open in from hardware. So before this, I have done a little bit of customization today. I'll remove those customizations. So if you observe, I have removed all the previous customizations for that file in the hardware. So whenever you click any form in the hardware, those three files get generated. One is the XML file, which is used at the runtime to check if the local and remote are same, and another is JSP file, corresponding conversion of that XML file into a displayable format, and another is detail, which is helpful for printing that particular form. So by default, now currently we don't have any form related files in the hardware instance. What I'll do is I'll go and try to access that particular form. So see, the display where the format is all scrambled because the customizations which are done in the hardware workbench does not get reflected because it is JSP page. Here we need to redo customizations according to JSP page. So already have done some customizations at my end. I'll try to copy them. So in the previous slide I was giving example of form conversion in the JSP, right? So see, previously I have deleted these three files. So whenever user clicks XML file form type in the hardware instance, first XML gets generated, correspondingly custom related JSP and as well as detail. Detail is for printing the form page. I'll try to replace the customized JSP in the hardware instance, which I have done. Once I have copied the customization, the previous form was all scrambled. Now it has been properly organized, and here also I have put some validations in a plain JavaScript. Some sort of customizations like for this security number I have made it numeric validation. If you don't give proper format of that number, it is throwing some error. So once JSP file gets generated, the users can edit that particular JSP to make them as per their choice. They can insert their own images, their own format, their own tables. It's up to them actually to make a decision of display of that. So some sample format I can show in right now. By default, complete fields of the form gets converted to a single table, wherein each field will be converted as a table data and displayed in directly in JSP page. So in order to make it as a row column wise, what I did is in the current page I have grouped the fields into different tables and displayed. If you see, the total is a complete table wherein the first row is the image, second row is a rich label. All these three things, all the other things I have divided into 4 columns. I'll show you one example. For displaying the social security number, what I did is in this row, for this particular number, on change, so here for the social security number, what I did is on change I am calling security validation. So this is a JavaScript function. We go to this particular JavaScript function, and this we have done a pattern checking, which checks the pattern to be first 3 digits, second 2 digits, and the third one will be 4 digits. So this way you can keep your own validation scripts for all fields in the JSP page. One more example regarding the Harvest API I would be covering with one more example which we have in the workbench. So as explained previously, we have form editor API which is helpful for interacting with SEM. So by default we bundle on-demand project.xml, wherein we have many methods, many functions which uses this editor object in order to talk to SEM. I'll just open that particular form, go through some of the fields so that you will get a clear idea for the next time when you want to use those API. So if you consider this form, this is a project form template which we bundle with the SEM by default. So the purpose of this form is to create a new project from the workbench itself. So this form itself we can create new project based on the selection. So here if you see, I want to create a new project with the name. So this new project I want to have a template called release model. If you see, I have a copy of existing project. For the new project, create a project, you want to associate the repository of the existing project or not. So for now, what I did is, you don't click if it is no source project is being selected because you don't want to define anything. But if you click OK, as here in this particular tab, the project list got generated as well as repository option got selected. So how this is done in the background, we'll go through the XML file. So if you see, whenever you click snapshot in the state option, snapshot view gets populated here. Whenever you click baseline, it gets disabled because the new project you want to baseline with the currently selected project. And whenever you select new, what it will do is, it will use the snapshot process of the source project, create a snapshot and associate that particular snapshot to the newly created project. So how this is done background, the validation part and the filling up those things, I'll explain. The project name here, I have what I did is forms demo, right? Project name. This is the XML file. Here the project name, by default HSQL gets generated and the list gets generated and filled in this particular combo. So this is the ID. Whenever there is any change, this corresponding changed event gets filed. Just go to that particular method. Here what we did is, first of all, making each and every combo associated to this particular change, we are making it as an empty. Later what we did is, getting the session object from the editor object, performing execute SQL query method on that, wherein we are providing the complete query. What this query means, you are selecting all the states which have a snapshot process of the selected. In the selected project, we are selecting all the states which have snapshot process associated with them. So by default, this gets filed and indirectly, internally fills up the state as well as existing snapshot fields. So whenever you click snapshot, even though they are filled, now whenever you click that drop down of that, the fields will be visible to the user. So this way we can use this on-demand project.xml as a reference of Harvest Form API. Okay, this is done from the demo part. So now I'll move to the last two slides where we'll discuss about some few JavaScript techniques and as well as the migration issues which are to be considered with the forms. So JavaScript technique tips. So whenever in the workbench, if you have any new script done changes, so you want to get reflected in the form, you need not restart the complete workbench. Just you need to close the form and reopen. It will dynamically fetch the new form template from the database and display it over in the workbench. So you can even use this command line option of launching the workbench. You may you may test something in the form validation part, but you can't debug it as it is cannot be doable from workbench debugging of the JavaScript. What better way we can do is put a sysout statements in those all scripts and launch workbench from the command line mode, and you can see which all things get hit and accordingly change your customizations. So workbench can be launched in another way, like navigate to the plugins folder. You will find one Equinox launcher file. Just run through the Java command java-jar with that particular jar as an input, and workbench will be launched. So these are a couple of links which would give more information on the Rhino script engine which we use for the workbench. So the last slide would be the migration issues and the upgrade issues. As I discussed earlier, like prior to 12.x, VBScript was used for the scripting language. Now admins has to take care, like while migrating the harvest forms and their customizations to the 12.x release, they have to redo the customizations in the newly supported format, which is nothing but a JavaScript. And coming on the hardware upgrade, as I discussed earlier, like the conversion of the JSP files is done automatically now. So any customizations which are there and can be changed dynamically, font types, all those things, the JSP gets regenerated. So all the customization part has to be taken back up so that whenever there is any change in the XML form template, they get regenerated, and this would be considered as a backup and to redo the customizations in the JSP files. Just do not copy all the JSP pages back to the upgraded product. What we can do is make them reference and accordingly change the newly generated JSP files with our needs. So I'm done with the presentation part.
Okay, thanks so much, Sridhar. We're going to open it up for Q&A. If anyone attending the session has a question that you would like to ask at this time, go into the WebEx Q&A option. It should be at the top of your page, or feel free to use the chat as well, and we'll respond to that question. Give you a couple seconds to type in a question if you have one. And I'm not seeing any questions. Len, am I missing something? Do you see any?
No, Rose, I'm not seeing anything either.
Okay.
So maybe we should just wrap it up. We'll get the replay of this posted in the community later. So if anyone has any questions at that point, they can feel free to ask the question in the community as well.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much for joining.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Sridhar. Great job. Thank you very much.
The leader has